Recording has begun. Alright, everybody. Welcome back to Titansgrave, the Ashes of Volcana, or at least Chapter 2, whatever we're calling this. So last time, on Titansgrave, our heroes went in search of whatever is causing the local inhabitants to turn to stone. After a series of such petrifications appeared to have occurred during the town shortly after their local festival. So, wanting to look into local folklore, try and learn if there are any possible mythical creatures in the vicinity, the party went to the nearby library, where they had visited the day previous, only to discover the place eerily quiet, and no signs of people around, and a mess being left amongst the books. Ultimately, they found the store owner unconscious in the back room, but no signs of anyone else. Ultimately, they found that she was just sleeping, with no recollection of what had occurred the night previous. They did, however, find that the book that they were looking for had been missing, and had evidently been taken by someone. So, without many other leads, the party, or at least half of it, split off and went into the forest to go to the previous location they were the night before, which was the last known location of the musicians. There they looked around a little bit more, still cognizant of the magical sort of essence that's permeated the area. But Samson, moving up to the top of the cliff they had spotted earlier, had located a large rock, several candles, and what seemed to sort of appear to be a place that someone had set aside for some reading. Samson also discovered a patch on the ground that seemed to emit a hollow sound when stomped on, almost as if it were a sort of magically concealed door. The party regrouped around that point, and they had discovered that it was actually a rock that had a spell turned on it to make it into a sort of one-way window. Breaking through, the party made their way into a large, cavernous area with some pretty advanced architecture, but still very eerie dead silence. The party maneuvered their way through some tight tunnels and corridors, ultimately coming upon a little girl and a very large snake-like creature. After a bit of conversation with them, they discovered the girl was named Agatha and was evidently the bookstore owner's granddaughter, who had gone missing some years prior. But of course, it appeared that there was some sort of magical effect or curse upon her. Her eyes were glowing orange. And she also had a habit of speaking pretty cryptically, but what can you expect from creepy magic girls? And so the snake also had an orange glow in it, and they seemed to be able to communicate together. And it appeared that it was the snake that was turning people to stone. They had mentioned a necklace that was the source of their curse that was binding them to these caves. And it was en route to find that room with the necklace that it appeared that the Aggie had come under mind control by an individual identifying himself as Silverton's brother, evidently using chaos magic to hold control over these entities. Though Silverton was able to use dispel magic to, if for a short while, cause that control over Aggie's mind to recede. However, shortly thereafter, Silverton's brother asserted control over the snake-like creature, and things began to stir within the walls of the caves. And that is where we left off.
You're muted.
Thanks. Well, I can't draw to save my life, but there's a very depressing representation of whatever symbology might be drawn in the center there. It's probably not a pentagram, because that's kind of cliche, but that's what you see there over there, just a reminder that there was some sort of ritual with runes and things drawn across
It's
the
a
board.
hexagram!
Yep.
Completely different and technically unique.
No Satan here.
Hexagram, I should have drawn it with another star point. Alright. Anyways. So yes, where we last left off was we had Silverton, who seems to have broken his brother's hold, if it is indeed his brother or some other chaos agent, free of Aggie, as she introduced herself, although Agatha is her name. Meanwhile, the Sneck, good old Fangsy, began speaking, and the tone is definitely similar to what Silverton would recognize as his brother's tone, unlike before when it was coming from the little girl and sounded like the little girl. Conversation so far has basically gone, well, didn't expect to see you here, brother, but I'm kind of busy in learning how some important stuff works, so you should move along. And Silverton's like, nah, I don't think so. You're causing issue and controlling and possibly harming these poor innocent whatever they are. And so you're kind of at an impasse just looking at each other at this particular point in time. Neither of you said anything for several seconds. Although Aggie is kind of confused. Not sure if dazed is the right word, but definitely confused and sort of looking around and looking at Fangsy sort of in awe that now suddenly he can talk. She is still right in front of the snake, although the snake Fangsy has reared back and is maybe twice as tall as you guys, being the coiled snake thing that it is.
So is this another path down here to the
Yes.
blood room?
Yes, it is. And we're not in combat yet, technically, so...
Lovely. So,
Also, since Darwin's not here, he's going to magically evaporate into thin air without anyone noticing.
So I'm gonna start heading this way so I can get here without having to fight my way past these people.
Okay.
I think,
And you guys don't... The 5-foot thing, in this sense, you'll be able to stack up slightly closer than that, as in, like, Charlie can kind of see around the corner, sort of a thing. You're not wholly sharing spaces, but this area is supposed to be a little bigger than it actually is, but not like a full grid space, so it's kind of hard to represent.
okay. I think I'm gonna cast, where's my spell sheet? Hopefully that. Yes, okay. I'm probably gonna cast Dispel Magic on the Basilisk, focusing the same kind of control thing that I was able to disable on the girl.
Okay.
And hopefully it will work semi-permanently. Or at least long enough for us to go fuck up whatever chaos stuff is going on. Alright, do you want me to do a check?
Yes, please.
So it's 36 plus my attribute, which is Charisma. And I get the extra +2 because I am the Inquisitor. So that's +5. Ew, 14. Not a great roll.
Not terrible, though.
Definitely not terrible, but not the greatest either. So you can tell that part of the sort of the stream of chaos energy, or like the connection, because you still have your detect magic up, you were able to tell that from whatever runes were in here was what you were receiving. The hexagram. It's still a pentagon, but it's like a pentagon-gram. It's great. Anyways, whatever. There's various symbols about the room, but of all the things I prioritized, I didn't draw those in. But I'll do that in the future. Don't worry. Anyways, so you're definitely feeling a pull from that room. There are some candles and flames that don't seem to be sourced from any particular point in that room, as well as something else further down the hallway where that raised pedestal is. It's got kind of the reddish detail. Again, it's not blood. Pretend it's rust or nothing. I got what I got with these backgrounds. But
I'm still gonna call it the blood room.
indeed, that works fine. I mean, you could say that whatever the red pedestal is that too. So yeah, whatever, it's fine. Anyways, so you can tell there are connections and things around there, and you're trying to basically unplug his connection, sever his connection once again, having jumped from one entity to the next nearest entity. And you are initially... You're uncertain at first if it worked or not, because there's no real change in Fangsy, but nothing is really said. And everyone's very tense, looking as like, did it work? And Fangsy very slowly lowers. I don't even know how you describe that for a snake. You don't describe snake movement very much. Sort of slowly weaves its head back and forth, lowers back down, and just sort of looks down at Aggie and back at you guys. No commentary is said or anything like that. The orange glow is returning to its eyes very slowly. Now, I have some specific notes here for... Let's see. I believe the terminology is will save that someone's going to need to make here in a second.
That is certainly a save that exists.
And it's going to be Charlie who's going to need to make this will save.
Oh, son of a bitch!
I'll make a will save roll.
Oh man. Oh man.
Fuck.
My brother's a real bastard.
Yeah, he's a cock.
You say as you can see the invisible energy just pass by you and down the hall.
Just realizing now, while looking at my character sheet, I have no numbers in my saves.
Oh, you should have set that up.
Yeah, I've looked up a little bit.
Let me. I need to pull up. Actually, Eric, what saves are you proficient in as a paladin?
Let me pull it up. Charisma and Constitution.
Okay, so go ahead and take your attribute scores and put those in all those boxes, except for those two. Add a +2.
Okay, so it's just a 2.
Also,
Okay.
I made the fog really jagged in places to indicate that that's not the end of the room, because it was really hard to tell that before.
Oh, gotcha.
Noted. Trying to set up my
that's
noise
definitely
gate.
helpful.
I think my noise gate is working properly, so it shouldn't hiss on the audio track. Yeah, we're good.
A crisp 16.
Plus a bunch of stunt points. I don't know if you can use those on saving throws, though.
I think only one class has save paladin.
That is correct.
Indeed. But thank you for pointing out the fact there are 6 stunt points. It's kind of like brownie points. It's not really even inspiration level, but it's still kind of nice to know. That's a lot of stunt points. So, yeah. Both Aggie and Fangsy are kind of, as confused as a snake can look, I guess. They seem very shook. A little wary, this. The Fangsy turns, sort of slithers, turns around and looks behind it, and then looks back at you guys. Charlie, you get the feeling of a hand on your shoulder, ice cold, and you're wearing armor, so that's kind of spooky feeling. You turn startled, and there's nothing there, and then you kind of shudder, you got a chill, but you don't remember getting a chill, and it feels kind of like the air around you's gotten very cold. Your armor's still room temperature though, so it's more like your skin's crawling almost. And you feel, as best as you would be able to describe it, you feel like a presence. I mean, it feels like a ghost has passed by you. You know, like the old stories of, oh, ghosts, you know, grab you and take you away or things. It's like, you know, childhood thoughts coming back, and it felt very real for a moment there. But you pretty easily sort of clear your head, look around again. Now you're the one who's also looks a little confused, looks behind you, and there's nothing else there that was there before, or that wasn't there before.
Okay.
So basically, you're supremely uncomfortable at this point, all of you, in terms of seeing people react to things that aren't there.
Mm-hmm.
Except me, because I'm running off to take a side path around.
Right.
Indeed.
All right. So, Aggie, do you happen to know anything about this room here? I'm gonna kind of walk up to the point that I can like gesture down that hallway to the circular room, because if I remember right, it sounded like she kind of indicated the necklace was down there at that farther room. But and I sensed some stuff from there, but also some stuff from this room to the side.
Indeed.
Okay.
So she's definitely doesn't look too pleased. She's like wringing her hands. And you ask her and sort of lean down the room and point, and she takes another step back and looks where you're pointing, and she reaches out and is sort of like stroking Fangsy with one of her hands. She's like, I don't know what's down there. She says, I don't remember doing that, but I'm the only one who's down here, right? She's like, I get bad feelings when I walk towards, or I get bad feelings from that room. I don't want to walk down there.
Oh, I don't blame you. It looks pretty terrible. I'm gonna walk into that room.
I like how quickly, oh, it looks pretty terrible. I'm walking into the room.
Yeah, because it's my job. I get to walk into the terrible fucking rooms that have chaos magic. And my goal here is to look over the room. I assume that my detect magic would potentially still be up, because that was a total of half an hour of effect.
Mm-hmm.
Like identify what elements of this may be magical, and just based on my training and history, how do I dismantle this?
So you recognize there's definitely, let's see. Right, you're doing detect magic. Okay, can you also give me an Arcana check as well? Just to kind of see how much more we got here.
Mm-hmm.
Also, yes, the characters are occupying half spaces, sort of. That just means you can get around them, but they're still kind of there, so you don't squeeze past them, but sort of.
Okay.
Aggie's kind of like peering around the edge of the hallway. Just peering around the corner, sort of a thing.
Are you fine with me getting the extra +2 for checks to detect, identify, resist, and counter chaos magic? Would that apply to this Arcana check?
Yes.
Alright, sweet.
And once we do that with you, Styx, I'm going to reveal more of the room and tell you stuff as well. So.
Okay.
What the fuck?
Well, you know...
I had a +6 on that!
It's really good you had that +6.
Yike.
But that was just the Arcana check in addition to what you can immediately detect. So you've got... there are rooms all over the floor. They almost... At first it looked like they might have been carved into the floor. That's not quite the case. It looks kind of like it's like candle wax. This has been dyed sort of a dark purple. These runes are carved around the outline of the room. And each one is different. You don't recognize them necessarily. Between detect magic and your analysis, you're certain that they are chaos magic in origin. They're dealing with chaos energies. They're generally directing the flow. I mean, it's kind of like the magic you use, only it's just incredibly unpredictable and damaging, but it's still being sourced. It's kind of like taking a tsunami and then routing it around a dam. It's still going to destroy the dam eventually. Some of the runes, it almost looks like the wax is warm and melting. And this whole place down here is damp and dark and maybe chilly at worst temperature-wise, so the wax shouldn't be melting. But the wax of some of these runes is actively melting. Towards the center of the room, there's sort of a larger design with more intricate pieces to it. And there are 3 candles placed right near the center, almost touching one another, and they're all of different heights, so sort of like short, taller, and then tallest, in a very tight triangle in the center. And sort of the air around you seems to be the same. These purple candles, or the purple candle wax, it's a similar color, but it's a lot brighter, and it's sort of like sparkle, like twinklings of light, almost like dust. But definitely you can feel just sort of the magical energy in this room, and it doesn't feel good. It definitely feels chaotic and not very well controlled. This feels like a room that could, I mean, not that it would suddenly rip open and horrors would start spilling out, but you get just a hint of that vibe where it's like, this is not good. More concentration of this would be really bad. And it looks like that the runes around and such are powering whatever's going on here. The 3 candles in the center, all of them are illuminated, but each one has a different flame, which all the wicks look normal. But one of the flames is blue, another one's sort of a violet color, and the other one's a very dim yellow. It looks like a flame, but it almost looks like it's pulling light instead of casting it out. It's just very odd looking. But it's like when you walk into the room, it hits you like walking out of the door of someone's house in Florida, and then suddenly it's just humidity, and you're like, ugh. It's that same sort of effect, only more on the magical spectrum. So you don't like it. That's sort of the gist of what you're getting about this room. And you definitely feel that there's a connection between this room and further down the hallway, as well as maybe some sort of external influence, or maybe from whatever is attracting or transferring energy in the other room may then proceed somewhere else as well. So you're getting the feel of a chain going along.
Okay, so this feels like more of an amplification kind of thing as opposed to a source per se.
Indeed. Amplification, or perhaps directing it. I think that you would be able to determine that much. It definitely feels like it's focusing or directing it more specifically, which might explain why the wax on some of the symbols that was used to draw the symbols is starting to melt.
Okay.
Chaos magic has a way of destroying whatever tries to harness it.
Okay. And was I able to discern what the process for dismantling this would be?
It looks like it is very slowly in the process of dismantling itself. You remarked to yourself in your head, I guess. But the candles in the center sort of, it's almost like you got your infrared magic vision on. It definitely looks like the candles in the center are what's powering this, but you're not certain how to, it's like, okay, the candles are the source. I need to affect the candles, but you're not sure in what way. So there's a variety of methods you could use, both physical or magical oriented, that may do it. Meanwhile, the Sticks went around the back way, took the side passage. You guys can see past these characters. They may have backgrounds, but that doesn't mean they're solid walls. Sticks sort of steps down and into the room, and I'm going to reveal a little bit more over here. jagged effect there. So there's two statues in the room of like knights clasping their blades or clasping swords, and the blades go straight into the stone. They're only like carved partway out. And the far end of the room is, I mean, it's casket sized, but it doesn't particularly look like a casket. I'd need probably a perception check to go further than that.
Okay, perception. Let me just quickly check what my perception was.
I'm sorry, you're not
that's a one.
you're not perceptive enough to read your own character sheet.
My glorious 12 with 3 stun points,
Nice.
which will be used on any Eureka moment.
Yeah, that's fair. Actually, that's very fascinating. Actually, okay, Eureka moment. Okay. So you have those statues there. They're kind of in like a guard stance, or protecting what's beyond. Makes sense to you. That pedestal. You note that there look like there's some markings on it. You're not seeing what markings exactly, having one of them nearsighted moments, but there's a lot of I don't want to say runes. They're not runes. It's more like detail work on the structure, on whatever this object is. But the red portion is raised above it, and it doesn't necessarily emit light, but it's at least reflecting light. And with your keen eye, you recognize that it has to do with magical energy, either a storage place or a conduit, a supply, something to do with magical power source for this area.
Okay. My next question will be, can I tell if those stone statues are going to start moving and try and beat the shit out of me?
They are statues. They don't have any remarkable features on them. They actually they're not super detailed. They look like they've been eroded by the water over time. They've lost some of their more refined features.
Okay. Do I see the amulet that is supposed to be in this room?
The necklace that Aggie mentioned is nowhere in sight at this time.
Okay. Kind of look over my shoulder. Yeah, Aggie.
Huh? She turns around and sort of like looks over one of the coils of the snake.
Yeah. Where in this room would I find your necklace that you want me to look at and potentially deal with, so that you no longer have to eat stone people and animals and stuff?
She goes, "Well, don't touch it." She's like, "It's not in that room. It's in the other room, the one further on."
So there's another room past this one.
Yes. She sort of glances back at Silverton in that other room, and then back at you guys, or back at you, Sticks. She's like, "Be careful."
Okay. And this red coffin thingy madoohickey that supplies magical power to everything in this place. Do you mind if I look at that, or is that something that will go boom if I touch?
And she sort of like climbs on top of part of Fangy and like peeks over, and she's like, "I don't know what you're talking about."
The red the red coffin thingy here in this room that I am in.
She sort of looks at you a second. She goes, "It's red."
Are you colorblind?
Well, no, it's just. Is it like a red rock? Because it was just a rock before. It was just carved out of stone like everything else down here.
Yeah. I must say now, something weird is going on in this room. Statues. Do statues come to life and try kill me if I walk past them?
So she starts laughing. She's like, "Statues coming to life? That's a bedtime story."
I look at her dead serious. You were just possessed. You eat stone things. The stone turned to red crystallized stuff that reflects light. I will not put anything past these wounds at this point.
Well, okay. I don't know.
My friend had to fight statue snakes that tried to kill him. Never underestimate chaos magic. I say as I turn around and proceed to walk into the room looking for this other room.
All right.
But
so it
first,
looks like.
taking a pit stop off at the Red Crystal to study
Okay.
it. Do I need to make special rolls for that?
Well, let's see. I guess Arcana check. I guess you could also do a history check. It looks pretty old.
I'll do Arcana first, seeing as an Arcana has a +7 on it. A 15 with 4 stunt points.
Okay.
Went from not stunting last week at all to stunting like all the time this week.
So, upon inspecting it and such, it looks like that it did have to do with sort of routing magical energy to power. It seems more like it might be the city at large, sort of like a particular power node of many. They use their... Used to be... Here, give me the history check too.
If I were to add another criteria, would that be like adding history onto an Arcana check? For
no.
second glance?
I'm checking
Okay.
two different things here.
Okay.
Because,
what
well,
would-
you may know about magic. That doesn't necessarily mean you'll know all the historical ins and outs.
Come on. I'm 100-something odd years old. I lived through parts of history.
Yeah,
I know
evidently
more about
Okay,
the history than I
cool.
know about the magic.
So there are, there are some plants out there, and there used to be sort of, you're not sure if it was old trees or like large, massive trees, or if it was more a combination of a forest's worth of trees sharing the same roots, kind of like quaking aspen do in our world here. But you know that some of those trees seem to have a magical life force about them, and that there were cities rumored to utilize that power back long before the Chaos Wars. And the detail work, the decoration, whatever, or if they're runes, that you're not entirely sure just because this is so old, but you're recognizing some of the symbols and patterns as being associated with those cities in sort of the notes and journals that were found of people who were at these cities. So it seems like this is definitely one of those long-lost abandoned cities, and that more or less this power is coming naturally from existing life. Not like killing it or anything, but just tapping part of its power.
Okay, and then before I forget, I did have 4 stun points on my Arcana check. I'm going to use 2 of those stun points to perform the tracker skill, which is a DC 10 perception check, made aware of any prior activity from creatures in the area, because I am a cautious motherfucker at this point.
Okay.
And I have a grudge against those statues after all that I've seen so far, and after all that Tobias has told me. I just
see,
make the
so-
check.
Okay.
I literally hit 10. I just
That'll
made the
do.
check.
All right. You're not noticing that there's been any presence in the room necessarily, but you do recognize that this, large crystal or whatever the heck this is, you can tell that there's like a seam that runs around the side of it. It was supposed to be inside of that stone sarcophagus, table, chest, whatever the hell it is. It's definitely supposed to be down inside of there, and it's been raised up. You're not sure if that's supposed to increase its power, or that's what it does when it's active, but that might explain why she didn't know what the hell or why Aggie didn't know what you were talking about, is because normally it's down recessed inside of here. You're not seeing any mechanisms that would like enable or have it move or anything like that, but it's definitely raised from where it normally rests down inside the stone frame.
Okay.
Switching it back over to Silverton, but first the people who are slightly above Silverton, northwise on the map. Are you guys doing anything in particular? Is there anything you guys would like to do since we haven't
Can
heard from you guys?
I take a look back in this area back here?
Mhm.
Sweet. And as I pass by Charlie, I'm just gonna pass by her and say, make sure to keep an eye on this stuff. I don't want Silverton being left here alone. I'll be back in a sec.
Okay.
I got a golem watching my back.
Alright, so this area, well, there's kind of some steps down to wherever this is. It looks like this is a lot more natural of a... Oh, whoops, that's the wrong direction.
Yeah,
It looks more like it's a natural cave formation that's sort of caved in to this area here. But then it meets some sort of like carved... There's definitely a wall that it... Oh, I almost revealed the wrong piece here. There's a wall that's like... So there's this right angle here, and it's because there's probably some other underground structure piece that backs onto this. So you're kind of like on the outside of it. It's kind of a strange effect.
Okay, so like this black area here, this is like this is a physical object in front of me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this corner here is actually like you're wondering if it's the outside of like one of the other rooms you were in. Not one you've actually been in, but another one like it.
Okay. Are there any like visible features to it, like any seams, doors, symbols, stuff on it?
Not upon first inspection. You're welcome to make a perception check for anything further.
That I will do.
So, Charlie, you gonna do anything other than just kind of stare at the stone gang?
I turned my character slightly at an angle in that corner area so that I can see Tom and keep an eye on the other two.
Okay.
So I'm watching both.
Perfect. Perception check 14. You're fairly confident there aren't any doors or anything that you can see or any sort of access. It looks like this area was either an empty pocket or some sort of cave-in or shift in the rock that even made this area exist.
Go over here then and look over into this corner with the shelf on it.
Okay. So there's kind of a carved, winding little path. It's really tight in here. You wouldn't be able to pass by somebody In fact, there's some areas you may have to squeeze past to get through. I'll have you stay right there for this moment, though.
Okay.
So Silverton.
So,
do.
Yeah, so can you just quickly describe the 3 candles that are in the middle? What differentiate, like, how do each of them look?
So, they actually, the appearance of the candles, they look similar to the ones that you found stashed up on the, or let's see, I think Samson found them originally. There were some candles stalked in sort of a gnarled tree stump root section by a rock that maybe you could sit on and read or whatever. There was a bunch of candles stalked under there, just standard candles made by the townspeople. They appear to be more candles like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's one that's burned down like 2/3 of the way, so it's only like this tall. And then there's one that's twice that, and one that's 3 times that height. The shortest one's got like a regular blue flame, so it looks rather hot, but standard color. The other one's kind of got a purple violet flame going on, which, if I remember my color spectrum right, means it's even hotter. But the tallest candle is sort of it's a very dull yellow. It doesn't look like it's a flame. It's kind of weird. Like it acts like one, but the color's wrong. The brightness is not right.
Okay. I'm gonna use my Warhammer and smash that tallest candle.
Okay.
Like just top-down Gallagher style, just smush.
Okay. So you rear back and swing the hammer down on the largest candle.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you just sort of crush the wax. There's not really a lot of splatter from it or anything like that for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
All 3 of the candle flames go out when you do this. I mean, obviously the one you hit, but the other 2 do as well. Although they're just spaced far enough apart that you manage not to disturb either of the 2 of them. It's just that one candle.
Mm-hmm.
All of the runes that looked like they were in purplish wax, they sort of like hiss and spit, and then all react like you hit them all each with a giant hammer, and you hit hot wax with the giant hammer with each of them. They sort of, out of nowhere, the wax goes flying, and each, just all around the room.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of, covers, you get a, a bit on your gauntlet or whatever, slight ouch, just kind of hot from one lucky spatter.
Mm-hmm.
Hits the walls, a little bit on the ceiling, that sort of a thing. And it reacts like regular wax. And it's not purple anymore, it's white. You didn't really notice the transition, but you noticed they're white now. They were kind of they look like dark purple. Now they're just white wax, a little bit dripping from the ceiling. And you're looking around, you're like, well, that was anticlimactic. Like you're not, the connection's gone, you're not feeling anything out of the ordinary or anything, you're just like, this seems pretty good. When after you struck it, and after a moment, you thought originally there was the hammer like rapping on the stone floor that kind of made an echo, but you note it seemed almost like a scream or a cry, like an angry at the same time, and you're not sure if that was just interesting acoustics or not.
I'm gonna kind of half grin, imagining that the hammer like smashed into Silverton's brother, and then like kind of half turn and realize that Charlie's there, and then like set the face back to efficient on the job mode. Turn around. All right, it looks like that part is taken care of, but I'm sure there's more. Why don't we head over to the next area, see if we can continue disassembling the control here. And I'll start making my way down the hallway and over toward where Styx happens to be.
Okay. Aggie's sort of looks at you and she's like, "Did you fix it? Is it back to normal?"
Partially. That part's taken care of. We're gonna go take care of the other piece now.
Okay, it's everything else is this way. And she sort of hops on. Let's see, here we go.
Does she ride the basilisk?
Yeah, she basically hops on the basilisk and it starts
Hell yeah.
slithering down the hallway.
Mm-hmm. Nice. That's awesome.
So you guys kind of pile in behind.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We'll just
Let's see, we'll do
follow
there. I
through.
think.
When he does that, does anything significant happen in my room?
That's a good question.
So that is a very good question. When the hammer strikes and everything sort of spatters and resolves, you notice that it's harder to look at that crystal material, whatever the red stuff is, called the red crystal for now. It's harder to look at. It doesn't feel bright. You're not getting any light casting off of it, but it kind of hurts to look at it. And you're really puzzled by that for a moment, and then talking down the hallway. Yeah, it's this way. You guys are headed down, and sort of as you reach the same room,
I swear those statues come to life.
The statue does turn. They both turn. That one's not centered because the eye image isn't centered. There we go. They animate, sort of turn step marching style, and then they just stop. They're done. They're not moving any further.
I called it. So I noticed the statues turn, correct?
Yeah, you do hear them. You kind of hear the stone on stone grinding.
Nah, fuck. I knew this was gonna happen. I prepared to fight statues.
So Aggie riding on good old Fangsies, she's like, "Whoa!" And the snake stops and sort of, right as it stops and sort of raises its head up a bit, and sort of she slides down its back further from the front of the snake, and sort of on guard, just watching the statue it saw move. But there's no reaction from anyone as you all stand there in suspenseful silence. Meanwhile, Samson, are you interested in that cave thing that twists off down that way?
Yeah, I'm actually going to fling the rifle over my shoulder, grab my knife, and sort of stick it out and sort of move in sideways. Actually, before that, I'll turn invisible. Start snaking my way in.
That's the best casual line. Actually, I'm going to turn invisible first. Okay. So kind of proceed down to where it's been cleared last, if you will, and then I'll.
Okay, so down to
the area.
there, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, you can move up just a little bit there, and then.
Pop. Ooh.
All right. Meanwhile, everybody back staring and looking at the statues, waiting for them to do something. They don't do anything. There's not a sound or anything. No movement, nothing. They're still standing at attention. As they were, just rotated 90 degrees.
I kind of reach behind me and touch the red crystal. Doing the most stupid thing possible, but also the most interesting thing possible for me.
It's warm to the touch. You kind of like feel warmth like spread down across your hand, down your arm when you touch it. The appearance, nothing changes. Nothing changes around you. And sort of tap on it, nothing. Nothing seems to react at all. It wasn't you touching any part of it that seemed to make a move either.
Yeah. Interesting.
Has Fangsy started to move again, or are we just standing in a hallway where we can't see anything?
You're just kind of stuck in the hallway. You can kind of see the statue and Styx and his golem, but that's about it. The snake's just sort of like, what was that?
Okay. Well then, I guess I'll start exploring towards here. Walk past the statue. I kind of give up.
Welcome to
at
say
this point.
something. Aggie's kind of like looking around, trying to see what's going on around the snake as well.
Aggie, if you and Fangsy wouldn't mind moving aside just a little bit, we'd like to head in there so we can investigate. You obviously don't have to come in if you're not comfortable.
She looks around, she's like, okay. And she sort of taps on the snake and it sort of turns like it's going to look at her and then doesn't. She keeps tapping on it and it sort of glances at her for a second and she points into the room. And the snake turns to look forwards again and then sort of leans towards one of the walls and just kind of like starts to pass into the wall. And Aggie's just sitting there on its part of its back because it sort of starts phasing into the wall. And she's like, or we could do that, I guess. And they both just phase off into the side of the wall and are gone.
Wow.
Oh, wow, there's like a lot of space that's actually been revealed here.
I'm just gonna like look over at Charlie with a little bit of a what the fuck look and just move on into the room.
Yep.
It's creepy shit, but she's a nice little girl, so we'll roll with it for now, unless it becomes a problem. Well, hey there, Styx. What have you found in here?
Yeah. Just the wet stone over there, which I was told was not supposed to be wet. These statues, which were not facing this way earlier, but are now facing this way. The red stone seems to be supplying magic all over the place.
All right. From the detect magic, what seems to have an aura about it?
So the statues definitely do, although the connection seems pretty mellow.
So they're chamomile. First thing that came to mind, I'm sorry.
The crystal-looking structured thing over there is definitely a hot spot for energy. I forget what we named the magical element, like of magic. Wow, okay, natural. That's the word I wanted to say. Because there's like elemental, but like nature more so.
Naturalism.
Yeah. So it's more like the naturalism vibes going on, as it were. But it's kind of got a wild streak to it. I mean, it's clearly naturalistic, but it doesn't feel like it's being cast by any particular person, and it's kind of it's weird. It doesn't feel like chaos magic, but you're getting a couple of similar strands or similar vibes where it's like, this is kind of unstable, just a little bit.
Okay. And that's coming off that?
Yes. And you're also getting something off in another room still that you have not yet found, off in a direction that Styx seems to be going.
Gotcha. And I believe I heard her say that the necklace is not in this room; it's in another one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Also, Samson, you're welcome to proceed before they proceed.
That is my intention. So what is in this room?
So there is a bedspread, and there are two, like, small chest lock boxes you could easily carry between your two hands. So basically, essentially, what you see is what you see.
Neat. So looking a little bit closer, does it look like there's any signs of any kind of like magical traps or stuff like that? Well, Samson is not a mage himself. His Arcana score is non-zero. And so I have a feeling he's learned some things, tricks of the trade along the way. Does it look like there's anything sneaky happening here? It'll all just look normal.
It all looks pretty normal. The chests have a place for, like, a key to lock them, but as near as you can tell, both of the lock slots are, like, already in the open position.
All right, well, I'm going to go to the one that's nearest me, this one right here. I'm going to open it, or try to open it.
Okay. So you're able to just sort of swing the top open. It looks like there's actually a collection of books. They look to be the same age, wear and tear era as the books in the bookstore. And I mean, nothing of particular interest, but they're some of them seem to be like stories, not necessarily children's stories, but maybe, something along those lines. It looks like they might be Aggie's book collection of books she's been taking and reading.
How dare you explore a little girl's bedroom while she's not there?
Fuck off, I'll shoot you in the head. I put the books back in the container.
Through the rock.
And then I move over to the next one.
Okay.
Open it and look through it.
So about the time you'd look at the other one would be about the time Charlie would get there, if that was the direction she decided to go.
And of course, I'm invisible, so she can't see me. She just sees the
Yeah,
containers
I'm just
opening by
realizing,
themselves.
like,
Oh yeah, we should probably we got a status effect for that, right?
Possibly.
There's an eye somewhere in here. These are like the weirdest symbols because they never quite apply to anything. We could have bleeding eye or aura. I think bleeding eye would work well enough.
Charlie, are you trying to like sneak up on me, or are you just like walking in normal?
I'm just walking.
She doesn't know you're in there. She
I-
doesn't know
I'm-
where that goes.
What I'm going on
But
is,
Jake,
do
there's
I
ninja
notice
mob.
she's entering?
I'm not trying to be stealthy or anything. I'm just wandering around.
Jake, why are you using bleeding eye when there's ninja mask?
Ninja mask is pretty
that's-
good.
But that's oh wait, none of you have stealth.
Yeah, stealth is a skill.
Yeah,
Once-
so I mean, you could be trying to be sneaky.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, invisibility is just kind of, you are sneaky. Get over it.
Well,
It's kind of intense.
Hi, Charlie. It's me. Don't worry.
Fuck.
Says the air.
By this point, if you're around me any length of time, you should already know that Samson can turn invisible. It's just a thing he can do.
That doesn't make it not startling.
Yeah, not
But
very
at least
jarring.
you'd expect it as being plausible. You'd at least know, okay, this is Samson just doing that again.
Oh. Hi. I'm gonna turn around and walk
waves
back
in
out.
front of you, sort of.
Anyway, what's in this second little container?
So in the second one, there are. It looks like pieces of hunks of rock, and I mean it matches the surrounding like rock walls and things that you have here. And there's bits of text, bits of words, or maybe some intricate carvings, depending on. So it's like little interesting tidbits that have been found and collected around.
What do they say?
Some of the ones that are more legible or have actual words. There's one that you've got that says something about energy, but it's just one word. Others are only like fragments of a couple letters, hard to piece together whole words. One of them's water. Another word is source. These none of them fit together. They look like they could all be from different areas. They're very well done and look very nice, but not really very helpful.
I'll make note of them. Close the container all back. Is there anything else in this little chamber, or does it look like that's it?
Nope, just the bed. Sort of a blanket rolled out and a pillow. Doesn't particularly look like it's been used recently.
Alright, well, I'm gonna go back and regroup with the others, though still keep my invisibility up.
Right.
That's kind of weird.
Sticks, you're free to proceed forward.
I would proceed further forward, but I can't really see where I'm going.
Yeah, sorry
Yeah.
about that. There you go. Okay. This room has a pedestal kind of like the other one, but there's no crystals or gems or anything. There is a mounted on the far wall, there's a mirror, and in the sort of on the pedestal itself, there's a there's some type of like metal frame. It's kind of hard to describe at the moment, but some sort of metal frame or rack. It might hold something, but it doesn't currently. It's just there's just a metal frame sitting there, centered on the pedestal.
Yeah, Aggie, are you there?
No, she's not. She didn't come in here. They decided to hide in a wall, because that's a thing they can do, apparently. What did you find?
I think someone's taken the necklace.
What do my magic seeing eyes see?
You see that this isn't the room that you were attracted, or that you were like catching some other magical draw on. It's not in this room.
Okay.
So sort of like stepping back out of the room and looking around again, you're still kind of like getting the feeling, well, off to the right, according to the map here. So in a eastward map direction, you're like, well, it's still over that direct, but it's not in this room. There's no other rooms I can see here. You know there was the cave off up top, though, where Charlie walked into and promptly walked back out of.
I want to take a look around this room first and see if I can find any like hidden mechanisms that may open up a secret room that contains the thing.
I will take a perception check.
Okay. Would investigation as a skill work for this?
Yeah, because you're looking for something specific. Yes.
Okay, sweet. Why?
Thanks.
It's a 12. However, let's see, maybe I can do something with one stop point.
You can add an extra criteria to your search.
I don't know that I have a second criteria that I care about right now, so I'll just ignore that. So, yep, the 12 on perception.
So, echoing through all of the hallways, you hear this loud, like, stone, like, crack and like a clatter Sounds like something like a big piece of rock fell from the ceiling and hit the ground and split, sort of a sound. I mean, having been in the world, that's the essential sound you're getting from that. And you don't really know where it came from. You think it echoed from this hallway over here, but not close. You know, somewhere through the maze of corridors you've been through already, you hear that.
And we all heard that, or I heard that because of my investigation?
I wish I could help you with a second criteria. If there's something else you want to look for.
No. What I mean is, did everyone hear that, or
yes,
did
everybody
just
did hear it. Yes.
Okay.
I wasn't quite paying attention there. What did we all hear?
Sounded
a
like
big crashing rock somewhere in this complex of shit.
Yeah, big hunk fell from the ceiling and split into pieces on the ground or something. It's sort of like the general way I would describe the sound. Not that that's what happened necessarily.
Given that I'm out here in this open room, do I have an idea of a closer direction, like more direction?
It didn't come from behind your character.
Okay, so it didn't come from here. Noted.
Yeah, it didn't come from where everyone else is stacked up. So. Further for your, I'm actually with your investigation though, Silverton. You're getting the gist that you need to go. That you do need to go in a this way's direction. It's nearby, but it's somewhere over here, and you're not able to position, or like in a sort of this way's cone. I don't think I have a cone effect, but
yeah, I see what you.
Yeah,
that was what I was gonna do next anyway. So I will begin to head kind of down that tunnel.
Okay.
Running into Samson at the same time.
Unless Samson steps out of the way, which I would assume would happen.
I guess I'll probably step further deep in, actually. Seeing him coming towards me, I just keep walking backwards into this tunnel.
Okay.
Can I investigate this, see if there's anything hidden about on it?
Yes.
Perception, investigation. It doesn't matter, it's still +1.
Yeah, do investigation, because you're specifically checking out an object for
6 stun points.
Items on it.
13 with 6 stun points.
You're looking around, you notice that there's a little tiny stone drawer. The seams are almost imperceptible, but there's like a nick in the stone that you can stick your finger into and like pull open. Just a little teeny tiny drawer. It has capacity, it's like that big. But there's nothing in it.
Okay. And then I'd like to use 4 points for enemy spotted. I am made aware of any enemies within 90 feet of me, just in case. And tracker, which I will do that roll now, again, to see if anything has been through this room besides us. I do not know if anything has been in this room besides us.
90 feet, he says, when the furthest anything can be away from him is like 6. Oh no, there we go. That's a little better. 80 feet. Okay. I was gonna say, he says 90 feet, so he basically means anything on the map.
I'm sorry, I don't make the rules of what this says. It just says 90 feet.
But I mean, if you've got like complete line of sight blocking, it doesn't make a ton of sense for you to be able to. But I still have a way for that. So hold on.
I get the sensation of an enemy within 90 feet of me.
Yeah. Samson and Silverton sort of moving into there. Silverton, if you'd like to check out the room. Charlie, if there's anything you want to do.
Again, just keeping an eye on the corner. Like I'm watching sticks to make sure nothing happens, as well as nothing's entering this room that the other 2 have just left.
Yeah, I'm gonna look for glowy magic shit. and I'll open up those chests if there are in fact closed chests in the room.
Indeed, it's the same thing as I described before, and you're not really picking up anything from them, but you're kind of picking something up from over here. I'll just ping it a few times.
Okay, I will head over there for a closer look.
So sort of checking over, there's really not much to it. There's nothing on top, nothing below the blanket thing, but underneath the pillow, you find dead center underneath the pillow.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Hopefully that popped up.
Mm-hmm.
So you appear to have found the necklace you're looking for. The central, gem, central eye of the necklace, it's got a jet black cut gem. It looks like it's, nice, fancy, but it's almost like liquid flows underneath the exterior surface. Or something. It appears to be solid, but almost like something moves within it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a dangling lower gem, and while it is sitting on the ground, but the gem's in a really awkward angle, almost like the wires aren't attached to it. Wires are like this, and then you have the gem sitting there, but the wire doesn't go through the gem that's hanging lower.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that it's laying looks like it should be attached. You've got this going on, but it's laying at a crooked angle just like the wire is, which is kind of strange.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, without touching it, I want to try and take a close look at it, see if I can identify the source of the magic within it. Specifically, so that I will have a solid target for a dispel magic spell.
Okay, perfect. Give me an Arcana check as well, in addition with your detect magic that's already going on. We'll just kind of see how much blended knowledge we really get.
Come on, don't be shitty. It was shitty. 12.
Does he let us know that he's found the necklace that we're looking for?
Not at this exact moment. He's still inspecting it.
Yeah, I think not quite yet.
So,
I haven't said anything at this point.
In looking at it, you don't in observing those features, you don't recognize anything about it from things you've heard or anything like that. But you can see. Normally, with your vision, you kind of see magical items as being illuminated almost, but that's not the case here. It's almost like the opposite effect. It seems like it's instead of it glowing with light in a sense, or however you want to describe being able to see it magically, it's sort of the opposite. It's almost like it's pulling the light from the room around it into it, which is very strange. But there is some sort of connection between it and the crystal in the other room, as near as you can tell by plotting through the views.
Can I look over Silverton's shoulder and see if I know anything about it?
Sure. I don't know. Would that? I guess that'd still be an Arcana check, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be the same criteria.
Or it
as
might be
looking for-
a history check.
Depending upon what it is.
Yeah. Maybe Brett has heard rumors of something of the sort, so maybe a history check might be a bit better for him. Whatever he wants to do. Whatever you decide he wants to do.
I'll listen to what Jake.
Yep. Wait, am I missing? Did you make a roll? We're doing our.
No, I
we're
was.
gonna stick
What
with
did you
Arcana.
want? What skill do you want me to use?
Okay. Yeah, we're gonna stick with Arcana for the time being.
Yeah. 5 stunt points. Add.
Is a Norton Mage rolling higher on our Arcana checks? No.
magic. I guess, if applicable, a Eureka moment based on information we've gathered. But otherwise, just normal bit.
Indeed. All you can get from, like, in looking at it, trying to see what it's like compared to other things you've observed, you recognize the overall design with sort of like the wings and just the shape of it overall. You have seen on occasion people, chaos cultist people who wanted to control like public officials to make them do their will and things like that. They never just succeeded, and they were always just cult idiots you put down, and it was fine. But you recognize it similar to some of those symbols you've seen before. And you're wondering now if the symbol bears the power, or if they're all in reference to this. But it definitely, the central crystal eye definitely has a lot of interest in it, and you ponder if that might be the center of its power, or how that would work. But you're definitely against touching it.
I've listened. I know bad shit will come of it.
So, what do you make of it, Silverton? Do we destroy it?
If it's at all connected to my brother, we should destroy the fucking thing.
According to reports I've read from others of my kind in the field, symbols like these, or like something looking like it, is what chaos cultists use to control individuals they want to influence. Looks consistent with what we heard of a necklace, magical shit.
It certainly explains everything that Aggie was telling us. So, alright, since it's kind of an unrelated thing, I think this might be worth making a separate check for. I want to see if Silverton has had experience with attempting to destroy other magical items, and whether, can I just hit it really hard, or will I need to disrupt the magic in it first in order to be able to destroy it physically?
Okay. Well, I suppose that's another Arcana check thing. But that works.
All right.
But...
It's just the same thing every time. I have literally gotten 12s 3 times in a row.
Could I also rack my brain on this too?
Oh, God.
Our brains together.
Yeah,
Don't
I'm
worry.
sure that I would be thinking aloud to Samson.
Don't worry, you just have an enchanter in the group that might know something. Don't bother letting him know that you found the item that you were looking
If
for.
we're
and are
really
trying to-
brain
Well,
cells,
now
we'll
that
help
you've suggested it passive aggressively, I'm not gonna tell you.
Are you fucking? No. No, this is fine. This is fine.
So, this doesn't mean that you've had more experience and know so much more than him, but you
It's a
did get a
specific
better
thing.
check, which means whatever you do have, I'm gonna tell you, I guess. I don't know. It depends on how much better, too. But
Ooh, actually, with
You do
6
have
stunt
6 stunt
points,
points.
I can emulate things from the mage stunt list. I am going to use those of Brainstorm, which is a 5-point mage stunt, which will let me re-roll any Arcana, History, Medicine, Science, or all checks and make for the next minute. So, I'll rock with that.
Add another criteria.
Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I'll use that for in case I need to re-roll those I can do that.
Okay. So in looking at it, you recall being partially involved when you first got started with the... shoot, I've forgotten the word that you're a part of. Let's see. Okay, Silverton. You mentioned
It's
in your
a
backstory the
private
group-
investigators guild
Yeah.
called the Divides Watch.
Yes. So, you guys have all done work for the Divides Watch over time. Sort of when you first got started, I figured that'd be a good place to start, or one of your early jobs at least. And Samson, you remember sort of helping on the outlay with an operation, but sort of when you met back for your debrief, it was in a big room, and they discussed in an artifact that they had found, and they were discussing, there were people on the team that requested to sit in on its disenchantment. So you know that there is a way to remove power from a magical artifact that's a lot less harmful than just letting loose chaos magic. So that might be the way to go with this thing if you can figure out a safe way to transport it, considering you're not supposed to touch it.
We've got a creature that doesn't actually have life.
Okay. So is Samson gonna mention that?
Yeah.
Tom, remember this? A long time ago, I sat in on a disenchantment ritual Divine's Watch was doing. Maybe we could bring it to one of them? Might be able to do something to it? Get it out of here if we did that.
That's not a bad idea. The part that concerns me, if we bring it back, though, is what if he can use the necklace to control other people that are just nearby as we're traveling? I feel obligated to at least try to destroy it ourselves before we go anywhere.
Fair point, fair point.
Why don't
Snap with
we...
sledgehammer?
Let's grab the others and see if we can put our heads together, so to speak. Would you actually call them? I can feel it's somewhat connected to the crystal in the other room, so I don't necessarily want to bring the necklace closer to it. Just in
Understood.
case.
Samson's gonna activate the radio.
Turn. Okay, yeah, sounds good.
Alright, I think we found the necklace in this little cavern over here. We're planning on destroying it. Regroup on our position.
Yeah.
This was the cavern that I saw you in earlier?
Yes.
Realize that my
Alright.
voice mod may not have been turned on for that because it's finicky as shit.
Charlie, will you lead the way?
Absolutely, yes.
Do you know the way?
Fuck. No. At this point, I can't remember. Sorry.
Never mind, I guess we'll go home. Alright, so Charlie, I'm putting you right here. Oh,
Rude.
sorry. So you guys start heading back, and we'll wait till Brett gets back real quick.
So you mentioned disenchanting. Would me, as an enchanter, know anything about disenchanting? This is aimed at Brett because he's the one that designed the class.
He is away from his desk right now, so we'll
alright.
wait for him to return.
AFD. Away
That's
from
right.
Dick.
I mean, that's also true, because I'm not in the same building as him right now.
Exactly. Alright, I'm going to take this opportunity of a short GM rest to
I feel like we've gotten through so much, but we haven't taken that much time to get through this much.
Indeed, but that's good, right? That means now we'll have plenty of time for whatever else happens. seconds, so
We'll have plenty of time for the combat that was supposed to happen last week. That was supposed to start. We were supposed to start with, but was completely diffused by Silverton.
I was pretty impressed. That was a decent diffusion of the situation.
He is using his class appropriately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
There's
it's what I
I-
do. I talk to witnesses, get them to not murder me, and then I go murder chaos mages. It's great.
Yeah. I haven't had an opportunity to actually use any of my special class features. Why? Because I have to use them all during rests. Except
So-
for spells.
You guys are coming back to group up, and you hear, "Destroy it." And Aggie is standing behind, the two of you. The rest of you guys sort of reach that point and see her there, and kind of get mildly freaked as Fangsy sort of like oozes out of the rock face.
Im's gonna like turn around, put his back against the wall, and lift his rifle up. First at the girl, and then at Fangsy.
Yeah.
Ready?
And then here's a question for Brett, out of character. Would a enchanter know anything about disenchanting? Because Jake mentioned that, and you and all that. Would I actually know the process for disenchantment as a enchanter?
Not an explicit ability outside of dispel magic, and that's where my rules side of the thing ends. It would be Jake's discretion as the keeper of the setting to decide that. Instead of just using dispel magic or whatever. I'm trying to make sure if you have dispel. So it's up to Jake's discretion.
Also, the word disenchanting usually isn't one that's used, because if you have magical runes or things, it's fairly easy to coerce the magic out of them. It's like nothing ever really like strongly holds on to magic.
I override the enchantment with another enchantment. I found the solution.
Yeah, it's like for the most part, it's not really a big deal, but you've never dealt with some type of artifact such as this, and so it's possible that disenchanting might mean a lot of dispel magic spells by a lot of people at once, or something. Or maybe it's some advanced spell that you learn, or that several people learn and use, or you don't know. You're not really aware of that terminology. Like, this is what you do, but you're like, what does that mean exactly?